Willie D Live.
What's up, family? If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you're representing. Throw up your flag. Family, I need you to smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already on YouTube, after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you'll be in the loop. I'll let a few hundred of y'all come in, then I'm going in. But in the meantime, in the between time, I'm going to get some shots out to the early birds, starting with dun, dun, dun. SMA 1989. Peace. DD, what up? DeAndre Durham, what it look like? Bruce, I see you. We got here. Connie, what's up, Connie Hodge? GT, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? The Faye. We got William McClellan, Mendoza, 903. What up? We got there Christopher, Jaguar Williams, Southport, Texas in the building. County boy, Mississippi in the house. What's that? Darshell. Flo Wolf. Lockup keeper. Miss Lily Blink. Kendrick Ballard, what's up? African Pride. Twin Hog. Let's see, Zion House, what's up? All right. What's up, Peggy? Going in, y'all. T. Gallagher, I see you. Going in. So we got Pooh Shiesty, man. Pooh Shiesty just got out of prison in October. Just got out. And now he's back in prison. Well, he's in jail, but he is awaiting a trial on conspiracy charges, RICO charges that could pretty much end his freedom reign. The worst part about it, fam, is that he can't even call his daddy for help because his daddy could likely be sharing a prison cell right next to him because his daddy is also involved, let the feds tell it, in this particular case. I want to pull up a story from a local television station out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. See, when I do reports, I like to get as close to the source as possible. I like to be boots on the ground, right? So, and you know, these local people, they tend to have a little bit more information, and they also seem to be more invested than national and international media outlets. So we got here rapper Pooh Shiesty arrested in Dallas for kidnapping, robbing Gucci Man. let's see, the U.S. Attorney's Office for North Texas held a press conference to share details about the January 10th incident. 3 music industry professionals, including rapper Gucci Mane, legal name Radrick Davis, traveled to Dallas for a scheduled business meeting to discuss the terms of a recording contract. Davis is only identified in the criminal complaint as RD. The complaint also identifies Davis's record label, N17. Prosecutors say Pooh Shiesty has been signed to Davis's record label since approximately 2021. Prosecutors say Pooh Shiesty, Williams Jr., and 8 co-conspirators executed a coordinated armed takeover. The other individuals arrested were identified as Lonnie Williams Sr., Rodney Wright Jr., aka Big 30, Kadarius Waters, Terrence Rogers, Demarion Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, Corday Johnson, Darian McDaniel. Prosecutors claim the group had a pistol and forced RD to sign a contract at gunpoint. They claim the other co-conspirators robbed the other 2 victims of Rolex watches, jewelry, and other valuables. One victim was allegedly choked to the point of near unconsciousness. The victims were eventually ordered to leave the studio and taken to their vehicle. Prosecutors claim a defendant barricaded the studio door to prevent the victims from escaping, calling Pooh Shiesty Williams Jr. the ringleader of the conspiracy. Williams Jr. was on home confinement at the time of the alleged offense for a prior firearms charge and conviction in Florida. He was released from federal prison in October after serving 3 of his 5-year prison sentence. Part of the terms of his home detention were that he would not commit another federal offense or possess a firearm. As alleged, 9 defendants traveled to Dallas, Texas to kidnap and rob victims who thought they were coming into town for a business meeting, said Ryan Raybould, United States Attorney to the Northern District of Texas. Instead of discussing business in a civil manner, the defendants resorted to violence and intimidation to achieve their purported business objectives. For anyone contemplating using violence and intimidation as a business practice, I'm telling you that it will be vigorously investigated and prosecuted in the Northern District of Texas. This case also highlights the outstanding contribution of my colleagues across the United States, blah, 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 blah. Police also raided Williams Jr.'s home in Memphis. Police claim Pooh Shiesty's father, Lonnie Williams Sr., helped plan and execute the kidnapping. He was among the 9 individuals arrested on April 1st. Prosecutors say car rental records show Williams Sr. rented the car. Surveillance video captured the group near the location of the alleged crimes. Prosecutors claim the alleged suspects posted the stolen goods on social media. Prosecutors claim they have electronic evidence of Pooh Shiesty at the location of the incident, in violation of his home detention conditions, as well as a cell phone records and license plate reader data corroborating the travel from Tennessee to Dallas. Prosecutors claim fingerprints evidence covered at the crime scene matches at least 2 of the defendants. Prosecutors say this case should serve as a warning to others who believe that using violence and intimidation tactics to rob others in our community is a viable way to conduct business. And the next 2 paragraphs, they're just basically patting themselves on the back. So we can stop right there. Fam, hey, what can I say, fam? Like father, like son? Pooh Shiesty actually had some lyrics in one of his songs where he was crediting his dad for teaching him the streets. Like, yeah, my dad, taught me the ropes. Sad it's really sad because his dad is a street dude who, instead of trying to keep his son safe, he seemed to be okay with his son, getting caught up in street activities. The average dude, I think, the average man would want more for his child, his son, than he would want for himself. He would want his son to be better. He wanted his son to learn faster, like learn the ropes of life, not the ropes of the streets, but the ropes of life faster. He would want his learning curve for destruction or destructive behaviors to be shorter than he had. So he tried to give him as much game as possible so that they don't make the same mistakes that you made. The average man that I know wants his son to have more money than he has. If he's been to prison, he don't want his son to go to prison because he knows what that life is like. He knows what prison life is like. So he wants his son to avoid prison and the trappings of life that can get you caught up in a prison bed. That's the average dude that I know. But then you have these dudes who might have a criminal history, may have been to the pen, may have shot somebody, may have killed somebody, may have robbed somebody. They get excited when they find out that their son is wanted for murder or wanted for kidnapping somebody, or they find out their son is a big time drug dealer or something. They get excited about that type of stuff. Some people think that just because they're with their son a lot, that's love. You're with him a lot, but what are you teaching him? Because if you're teaching him destructive behavior, that ain't love. What you got yourself right there is a co-defendant. I could never be proud of my son allowing this corrupt system, this racist system, to capture him after all I've sacrificed already. After all I've been through and after all of the warnings I've given him, he allowed himself to get caught up in this system. I would be extremely disappointed. And I have conveyed that to him. This system is very wicked, and it is especially wicked towards Black males. So why would you put yourself or your own son, purposely put yourself or your own son into harm's way? Allow him to get gobbled up by this type of system, the system that wants to enslave him and have him working for 50 cents a day, if that much. Why would you put your son in that type of position? See, a real dude, a solid dude, a real dude would see his son doing something wild, see his son doing something destructive and pull his coattail and be like, no, man, that ain't what you want. But also, I think it's important for men to tell their boys what they expect from them. Because sometimes we don't really communicate our expectations to our sons. I think it's important for men to tell their sons, look, no means no. This is how you operate when you're with women or young girls. This is what you do. This is how you behave. And if you see somebody else behaving that's in an inconsistent manner to what I told you how you should be behaving, then you need to make sure you get up out of that room, you get up out of there. Or you make sure that if you're able to help that woman to safety, you help that woman or that girl to safety. Because here's the deal. I know a number of young men who have gotten themselves caught up. They may have been totally innocent in a situation, but because they were there and they did nothing, they ended up on trial also. They ended up going to the penitentiary. Ain't did nothing, but sat there and watched it happen. And you know what they say about silence? Silence is complicit, right? I mean, if you see something going on and you see something going down and it's wrong, and you don't say anything about it, you don't do anything about it, you're just as guilty. And oftentimes, you know, you can get yourself caught up. So men have to have these talks with our boys and let them know what we expect. You expect your boy, you let your boy know, you let your son know, look, date as many of them as you want. But when you pick one, you pick one. Because the downfall of too many men is the upkeep of too many women. See? But what we'll do, we'll have a lot of us, you know, we think it's cute. Oh man, yes, right. Man, he got them all, boy. He got all them girls that's running around here. It's all funny. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Nah, man. That's a damn headache. That's a headache and trouble waiting to happen. So you let them know, man, yeah, date as many as you want. Date them. Date. But when you pick one, bro. Because all of that sneaking around and doing this and that and having these multiples and man, that's a headache. That's a big headache. And so you know better already, so you should teach your son better. Same thing with this system. You know, especially in Texas, you know that these people treat inmates like animals. You know that the worst part of even going through this system is when you have to go through what they call it, intake. Let me explain to y'all about intake in Texas. Intake. Now, they may have changed a few things in some prisons, but let me tell you how it go generally. You go to prison, and intake is when you first touch down on the yard, and you go in, and they're intaking you. You're getting your clothes, you're getting checked out, you're getting checked for diseases, you get your doctor, the doctors see you and all that kind of stuff. They checking you out, making sure you're good, all that straight. They searching the most private parts of your body. They looking, they all up, man, they out. And then before you get your clothes, you go to shower, and you're standing in line like this, butt naked, toe to heel, next to other men. Toe to heel. Now, like I say, it may be different in some prisons, but I'm gonna tell you what I've seen. Toe to heel. Toe to heel. You're standing in line, and so your meat is up against another man's ass. If you just move just slightly, you're touching each other. And they don't care, because they actually want that. They want to break you down. They want to dehumanize you. Then you got some youngster bossing you around, telling you what to do, and they're power tripping. And then imagine a woman who is a CO. Imagine a correctional officer who's a woman who's had bad experiences with men, and now she got a job where she can boss men around. So she gonna power trip. She gonna come in there and, hey, get up, get down, hey, stand back. We're gonna turn around, I seen it with my own eyes, fam. I'm not making up something. I seen this. So I know how it go. You don't want your son to experience that, man. You don't want to put your son through stuff like that. You want to keep him as far away from that as possible. But look at this, fam. Like father, like son. That's the father, obviously, to the left. that looks like dysfunction to me. I know some of y'all might look there like, man, they real. At least they keeping it real. Oh, good Lord. They keeping it real, you know. They close. They just like that, man. And you, come on, fam. Look what this type of mentality just got them now. Oh, it worked for a little while, but look where it's got them. If you want to be a gangster and you don't want to go to jail, you're going to have to get on the government's payroll. Otherwise, it ain't going to work out for you. If you want to be a gangster and you don't want to go to jail, you're going to have to become a member of law enforcement. You're going to have to become a judge, a prosecutor. Yeah. You're going to have to, become a politician, a president, a vice president. All that street shit don't work, man. That's played. You're going to play yourself in the streets. They don't want any competition, bro. They let you know. You know how you know you ain't gangster like you think you gangster? You only gangster to the people that's in the same pot as you are, which would make me feel a little inferior. I would feel a little weak if my gangsterism had limits. I would feel a little weak because amongst your people, you feel untouchable. But the reason why you really ain't as gangster as you think you are is because when they do something, all we do is sit back and we talk about the gangster stuff that they did, and they get to go back and forth to their office and continue to go to sporting events and entertainment events and be with their family, go on vacations, live the life of luxury, do whatever they want to do. But if you do something gangster and break the law, you go into jail. And guess who's going to put you in jail? The other gangsters, the legal gangsters. They're going to put you smooth in jail. They don't want any competition. Ain't that strange how much vitriol that the legalized gangsters have for the street gangsters? They hate them with a passion. And I do believe it's because they don't want that competition. They don't like the idea of you thinking that you somehow a real gangster and you tough and all this type of stuff when they didn't went through the right channels to be given a pass to be tough and be a gangster and to break the law. They didn't went through the right channels. They went and got educated. They went to the academy. They went and made the connections. You ain't do none of that. You just a thug. You just a regular old common street thug. And that's really all you are. No matter how big you become, when they want to put you in jail, they just come arrest you. When they want to search your house, you can't go kick their door in and search the house and then go back home and just relax. You got to be on the run. They can kick your door in and go right back home and chill and relax. They can go to dinner, whatever, ain't nobody, and they get a pat on the back. Might even get a promotion. You get in a jail cell. So you ain't gangster like you think you gangster. You ain't hard like you think you hard. If that was my son who had been in prison for 3 years, who almost had his whole life derailed. Well, he had his life derailed, but almost lost it all. He got out of prison just a few months ago. He got a chance to get his life back on track, get back out there, get some money. He got a brand, Pooh Shiesty. That thing that he got on his head, that mask he got on his head is called a Pooh Shiesty because, he had a penchant for wearing those things and people just started calling them Pooh Shiesties. So he got the brand and everything. So he had an opportunity to turn it all the way around. They let him out. They had him and they let him out. That's my son. I'm telling him, all right, baby, let's go. We finna go to work. I got you. We got work to do, baby. We got some catching up to do too. But let's go get this money legally. Let's everything we do from here on. You are too valuable. This is what I'm telling my son, who has put in the work to become a brand. I'm telling my son, you are too valuable to be caught up in this system, to be going back to jail, be sitting around rotting in a prison cell. You're too valuable. You better than prison. You bigger than prison. That's what I'm telling my son. And I'm not only did he not tell his son that, according to the FBI, he allowed his son to orchestrate this kidnapping and robbery, and he assisted him. He went in to go put the work in. He didn't even sit back and quarterback it. He allegedly went in and was involved in it. That ain't love, bro. I don't care how many of y'all try to justify it. That ain't love. That ain't love. That's hate. That's hate. You gotta hate your son to set him up for failure like that. Ain't no way I'd do my son like that. No way possible. First of all, I would have been hurt the first time he went to prison. That would have messed me up right there. I would already be hurt behind that. Hell, I'd feel like a failure too. But when he got out, before he got out, I would have already been visiting him and putting things together, putting plays together. I would have made sure that the money kept coming in even while he was sitting down. However we can make some money and keep things going, keep his name out there, that's what I would have been doing. Making sure his name stayed alive, like Bun B did for Pimp C. I would have made sure everybody knew his name. Free Pooh Shiesty. Right or wrong, free Pooh Shiesty. I would have kept it going. And by the time he got out, oh man, we would have had appearances set up. I would have had appearance dates set up for him. I would have had interviews set up. I would have had a brand deal or two. Let's focus on getting this money the right way. Let's focus on doing it the legal way, because this gangster way really don't work out for us. This is why if you're going to get caught up in something gangster, you better make sure you all the way to the right, to where it's legalized. It's like, you know what? That was gangster, but we can't lock him up because he was well within his rights to do what he did. He was well within his rights. You got to be all the way to the right. If you black, you got to be all the way to the right. If you ain't on the government payroll, if you're not a law enforcement, you're not a judge, you're not a prosecutor, you got to be all the way to the right in order for them to let you keep walking and going on about your business. I covered this. Y'all know I don't cover a lot of these type of cases because I really think a lot of this stuff is just pure foolishness. And we got bigger fish to fry. It's real things happening out there. We got a lunatic in office that could send us all to World War III, that could extinguish all of us. I'm looking at big fish. I cover the big shit. Like stuff, people that got real power, real gangsters, real killers. Because these gangsters is in jail. See, no matter how big they were, no matter who was scared of them or all this street shit, that doesn't even, at the end of the day, that don't even matter. Because when the real gangsters say, okay, go get them, they going to get them. It don't matter how big they are. It don't matter if they're 6'9", 10, 350 pounds. When them people come say, go get them, they going to jail or they going to die right there on the scene. But they going one way or the other. They'll take your body warm or cold, but you're going. And you're going to sit in that jail with a whole lot of other badasses who thought that they were untouchable. Now, the real gangsters is them fools who went to Harvard, who went to Princeton, who graduated from the University of Houston, USC, Tulane. The motherfuckers over there with them degrees. They are the real gangsters. You got to play to stay, man. Play to stay alive, play to stay free, and play the long game. The long game is what's important. All of this temporary success, temporary freedom, temporary, man, all that's temporary stuff is just temporary. I like the long game. I like the long game. That's what's important. I'm talking about the game that continues to play on after I'm long and gone. But I didn't set it up in a way where we can keep this thing going for some generations. It's long game. All this internet fodder, this trying to be tough. I'm seeing people say, well, Gucci snitched. Say, if y'all still on some who snitched shit and all that stuff, first of all, in order to snitch, you got to be part of the crime. How can a person snitch if he's a victim? If you're a victim, we got to see. That's another. See, we got to. Yeah, we got to. It's a lot of slow black folks out there. It's a lot of slow black people out there in our community, and we proud of the wrong stuff. It's too many of us who are proud of the wrong shit. Just proud of the wrong shit. We learned certain things we've learned. And we learn, some of us are so messed up. Everything that's right, we think is wrong. Everything that's wrong, we think is right. And we hustle backwards. A lot of us, we messed up in the head, man. We messed up in the head. In order for Gucci to be a snitch, he would have had to be part of Pooh Shiesty's crime or alleged crime. He'd have to be on that side of the crime. He'd have to be on the side of the crime, the suspects. And he would snitch to get his time knocked down, right? To get some type of favor from the prosecution. That would be his motivation, to get some type of favor from the prosecution. Then you got people who say somebody snitched and they're a person who ain't got nothing to do with the case, but they witnessed something. That ain't snitching. Quick story, I'm gonna let y'all go. I used to live in this neighborhood called Westview. Look it up in Houston. Very, very expensive neighborhood. And there was this old white lady who lived next door to me. And when I moved over there, we spoke and we were friendly or whatever, and we had each other's phone number, but I never been inside of her house. She had never been inside of my house. One day she calls me, she said, Willie, there's a brown car parked outside of your house, and I've never seen that house. I've never seen it before. And back then, this is my cowboy western days. So I get my gun, tuck it, and I go out there and check, Dude rolled the window down. I say, can I help you? Oh, I'm parked. And he said, I'm waiting on my wife. She's working. So his wife, turns out his wife is the house cleaner for the house on the other side of me. But he's parked like closer to in front of my house. So I thought about that. And I said, yeah, I picked the right neighborhood. I picked the right neighborhood. I picked the neighborhood where I want my neighbors to be nosy. I want my neighbors not nosy to the extent that they walking up to my house and looking at what you doing in there. Not that, but see something, say something, because that makes the entire neighborhood safer, and that makes you sleep better at night when you know your neighbors are watching out for you. When because your neighbors may be up at different times of the day, different times of the night. You might be asleep, you might be gone, but your neighbors are always watching. And what that do to you? That make you watch out for your neighbors. So that's really something we need to get back to doing, is looking out for each other, because that's the way I was actually raised. I was raised, no matter what neighborhood I was living in on the north side of Houston, I was raised at a time where people looked out for their neighbors, and you knew your neighbors. So all of this, yeah, and if you came in and did something slick in our neighborhood, man, you didn't have to wait on the police to come. We was gonna deal with you straight up. You was gonna get dealt with by the people in the neighborhood. But the people in the neighborhood today, they so damn scary. Everybody's scared today. They're scared of the youngsters. Everybody's scared to say something, and that's why the neighborhoods are so unsafe, because the gangsters know you're scared. They know you're afraid. But what happens when they know that you're not afraid? What happens when they know you're not running scared? They run scared because they know, oh, it ain't sweet over here. Shit, they gonna tell these motherfuckers nose around here. They all standing all outside. I pull up, man, they all outside looking at it. You know what? Let me go somewhere else. That's how you want your neighborhood to be. James Duncan said, Willie, you are old, man. Thank you. He said that like it was an insult. Thank you. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, James, man. You my type of guy, man. I'm glad you recognize that, because that's the goal. Getting old is the goal. What the hell are you talking about? That's the goal. That's why a lot of y'all asses dropping dead. Babies dropping dead, because you don't respect aging with grace. You don't respect it. You can't even see yourself being old. That's why you ain't getting old. That's why a lot of y'all gonna drop dead. You ain't got no plan for older age. You don't have no respect for it. And that's why a lot of y'all don't respect your elders. And that's why you're gonna die early. Yeah. The goal is to get old. Man, when I remember I had I went and talked to this alternative school once. So alternative, these are the kids that they say are bad kids, right? So I go to talk to these kids, and I ask these kids, I say, how many of you know, I say, how many of you see yourself alive in the next 10 years? Few hands went up. I said 20 years, not one hand went up. And that's sad, because if you don't plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So I always planned on being an old man. Now, some of my activities were inconsistent with getting there, but deep down inside, I saw myself being the old wise man on the porch. I saw myself being the old wise man. I saw myself being the one with the grandkids, and people come around, and the grandkids come around to get wisdom, and they tell him, I'm the patriarch. I see myself being the patriarch. I saw that. I envisioned that. And see, when you envision yourself being the patriarch, you start doing certain things that are consistent with actually living that type of lifestyle, like not putting yourself in certain type of situations that could, shorten your time here, right? Including what you eat and what you drink. Your environment is going to dictate a lot about how many years you get out of this life. So you start moving in accordance to living a long and healthy life. You respect your elders. You talk to your elders, and you get gain from your elders. And you visit your elders. You look out for your elders, because you plan on being an elder too. So you'd like to have that same amount of respect and regard, right? Yeah. That's the plan. That's the play, man. See, and one of the reasons why a lot of us, we don't even get insurance, because we don't see ourselves getting old. We don't even see ourselves. We run around here doing this and that. We don't build anything, because we don't think in the future. We don't think 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now. We don't think even 100 years from now. Man, do you know that I'm thinking, what my mindset is right now? I'm thinking along the lines of 200, 300 years from now. I'm planning right now for the next 100 years, not 20, 100. That's what I'm doing. It's bigger than me. You want to stick around, not even just for yourself, but to pass that information and instructions on to the future generations, to those generations underneath you. They need that information. They need those instructions. So you want to stick around as long as you can so that they can get that information. I had a good friend of mine. He was about 15 years older than me. He was an accountant. A really good dude, very, very knowledgeable. He was one of those dudes who could tell you everything about Houston. All of the players from all the way back in the 60s. He could tell you about the 60s, the 50s. He could tell you everything about these guys, right? Well, not 50s, but yes, 50s too, because he was just a historian. He knew everything about politics, all of the players, who was the gangsters in the city, and then he could go beyond Houston and talk about what happened in the United States and all of the presidents and the laws that were passed and Jim Crow. And he was one of those types, knew a whole lot of stuff about that. And I used to just pick his brain all the time. If I knew something, I called Sarge. Hey, Sarge, woo. I got as much as I could out of him, not anticipating that he would die young. He died about 10 years ago. I couldn't believe it, because he seemed so energetic. He was always on the go, but he died. And when he died, all that knowledge died with him. I promise you, he knew more about life and people, politics, business, than 99% of the people in this world did. and I had them on speed dial. And I was able to get some information, but not nearly as much as I would have liked, because he had so much knowledge. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you want to be around as long as you can to continue to impart that knowledge on the younger generations, because they're going to need it. China Carter, what's up, China? Appreciate you. Yeah. Nazar, what's up? See, and here's the thing too, fam. One of the reasons why, if you go back and listen to my music from early on, I sound wise beyond my years. That is because I got a lot of information from my elders. Oh, I lived some, I was in the streets and stuff, so I lived, but they knew way more than I knew. And I always respected that. I always respected that. Like, I respected my elders. A lot of y'all, you don't understand, boy. It's bad luck to take that information, take your elders for granted. You don't understand that. Some of y'all can't see yourselves getting old. That's why you put anything inside your body. That's why you lay up with anybody. That's why you put your life in peril. You take your life for granted because you can't even see yourself being old. You got a bad take on being old. So you know what? Being old got a bad take on your ass. Being old, say, you know what? You don't like me, nigga, I don't like you, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if being old was an actual person and being old like, nah, I ain't letting you get old. No, hell no. No, you got to die. We not letting you because you ain't gonna respect it. You ain't never respect it. No, you gonna die. You don't respect it, you gonna die. Oh man, you gotta respect that. Respect it. Vicky Slaughter, what's up, Vicky? Where you been? Vicky been over there moonlighting, over there on those other channels, man. I already know. What's up, Fred? Kendrick Ballard, Miss Emma, what's up? I had an aunt named Emma. I got me a clown. I finna block. Boom. Yeah, that was pretty good. I like that. Yeah, and here's the thing too, fam. What we got to do, like, when you find these uncivilized mutts in your comment section, don't even trip on blocking them. They're nobody. They don't bring nothing at all to the conversation that's constructive. So you want to get rid of them as soon as possible. They're uncivilized. Don't try to save them. Don't try to respect them because they don't respect you and they don't respect themselves. So get them out of there and let them go to those other uncivilized mutt channels and listen to them. Let them be amongst their peers. You see what I'm saying, fam? You got to get them out of there so that you can protect your energy. See, that's what it's about. You got to protect your energy. The uncivilized mutts, they bring nothing, absolutely nothing to the discussion, nothing positive, right? Nothing you can use. So you don't have to feel bad when you block them and not you don't have to feel bad about them. Like, they don't have a right. They come on your channel and act like they got a right to say certain things and just be disrespectful and all that kind of stuff. No, man. Nah. This is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship. It's my channel. I get to run it like I want to run it. Same as you run your channel the way you want to run your channel. Beyond compare. What's up, Magic? Magic the Wise. Champion Truth. Yeah. So anyway, fam, that's my time. I appreciate y'all joining live. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. No more talk.